So the first question is from Mr. Mohammed Uddin. Recently, the Council approved the expansion of North Cheltenham School at the cost of £3.5 million. North Cheltenham School was chosen ahead of Hathershaw College, citing additional refurbishment costs. But this wasn't detailed in the report, nor was it scrutinised. In the Manchester Evening News, it was reported that the Council took 75 seconds to come to this decision, expand North Cheltenham's, which clearly indicates that that adequate scrutiny was not offered to this decision. The PAN number at Cheltenham School is 240 compared to 210 for Hathershaw. Despite this, Hathershaw College was not prioritised for expansion. The parents of Coppice are frustrated that most of their children are excluded from attending Hathershaw College as priority is given to the feeder schools. Will the Council seriously look into the expansion of Hathershaw College in the immediate future, given the acute shortage of secondary schools placed for the residents of Coppice? I call on Cllr Jacques to respond, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you, Mr Uddin, for raising the question. Forecasts show that by September 2019, an additional 110 places will be needed in Year 7 and subsequently across all of the year groups. By the year 2022, there will be 150 places needed in Year 7 and subsequently across all of the year groups. If the trend follows the primary school projections, then the additional places will be needed in Chedderton and East and West Oldham. There are a number of schemes that have been discussed and scrutinised at the Education Provision Group, which seeks to address the pressure and satisfy the demand in the borough, ensuring our statutory duty of providing sufficient school places is adhered to. The opportunity to extend existing secondary schools has been evaluated using the secondary schools priority matrix. The matrix takes into account a number of criteria, including the percentage of first preferences, requests at Year 7, allocation, Ofsted ratings, progress and attainment results, and site conditions and the capital cost per pupil place. Using this criteria, the priority for expansion at the current time is North Cheltenham School. The Radcliffe School and Hathershaw College were the next priorities according to the LA expansion criteria. These options were looked at and analysed. The amount of places needed in West Oldham warranted more than could physically be put on the Hathershaw site. There is a new free school opening in East Oldham in September 2020, Oasis Academy Leesbrook. There is also the possibility of a new school in West Oldham in September 2022, which is currently being investigated and a site selection process is being undertaken. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Move on to the next question. The next question is by Syed Maruf Ali. The residents of Coppice, Primrose Bank and other areas of West Oldham desperately need a good, outstanding secondary school in our area, following the closure of St Augustine's and Grange School. Schools census stats from January 2017 show minority ethnic pupils now make up 46.5% of the primary school pupils in state-funded Oldham schools and 39.8% of public pupils in state-funded Oldham secondary schools. According to Oldham Council's 2018 profile document, just 22.5% of the Oldham population is BME. The majority of the BME population lives around the town centre. There is a shortage of secondary school places due to St Augustine's School and Grange School being reallocated to Royston Shaw and Chedderton areas. Also, the number of foreign-born children in Oldham schools increased from 318 pupils to 2,471 in just 4 years. The National Insurance figures released for January to March 2018 show another 530 adult migrants arrived in Oldham, with 77% settling in Oldham central wards. Is Oldham Council going to build a secondary school around town centre base to address the shortage of secondary schools places? There has been expansion of secondary school in other areas. However, due to individual school admission criteria, residents of Primrose Bank Coppice does not have access to those schools. Based on the statistics, that the priority of Oldham Council should have been to build another secondary school in town centre base or expand the existing town centre base school. Why hasn't this been done? The Cabinet member responsible for education needs to address the lack of choices for schools for children in Coppice Primrose Bank area. It is an issue that is not serious concern for many. It's an issue that is a serious concern for many parents in Coppice. So I'd like to call on Cllr Jacques again for a respond. I think it'll be a similar reply to the previous one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you, Mr Ali, for raising the question. I do believe the response to the first question covers all the points raised in the second question, so I have nothing further to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll go on to the next question. This is submitted by Peter Brown.